Hello everyone, this is a quick introduction to the first project in this course, which is to create recipe icons. As I mentioned in the course intro, one of the big projects in this semester will be creating a recipe book, and so all of the mini projects that you'll be creating for this course will apply to that final recipe book that you'll be working on, probably starting in week 4, week 5. So for this project, you're going to take what you learned in Adobe Illustrator and you're going to create a set of 8 icons. These are going to just be black and white icons, and they should represent the following recipe elements: a clock or a timer, an oven, vegetables, meats, dairy, temperatures, measuring items, utensils, and cookware. So in the case of like the measuring items, the utensils, the cookware, you could do a couple icons within a set, or kind of like this, the fork and the knife, or it could just be individual, like a measuring spoon or a measuring cup, as long as you can understand what that icon is. The reason we create icons, and one of the most important aspects of an icon, is that you're taking an object and making it into its most simplest form. In this way, you can size down the icon to like 1/4 of an inch, and you can still see what it is. So you want to make sure that your final icons clearly represent what the object is, but that also it is still readable at a very, very, very small size, which if you look at these examples, you can see you could either do line art, you could do light line art, heavy line art. You could do your icons with white lines in a black circle. It doesn't, they can be in a shape if you wanted them to, but in most of these cases, you can see a lot of times it's just curves, circles, rectangles, and just, no details here. I can't necessarily tell the texture of this object, but it doesn't matter because I know it's something that holds something. Same thing for this. A spoon is really just, a rectangle with a curve at the end and then an oval on the other end. A whisk is just a series of lines. Look how simple this clock is. It's just basically a circle with 2 lines, and we can all recognize this as a clock. Vegetables, you could do, think of vegetables that represent all vegetables. It could just be one. In this case, you can see this obviously this is a little book. I know these are sort of more holiday oriented, like I would imagine these are ornaments, Christmas cookies. This is a pie, but look how simple this spoon is. So you're going to basically create this set. The set should be cohesive, so the set should look like it lives together as a set. Just like you can see here, these are just a thin stroke, these are heavier strokes, but they feel like they're within the same family. You'll be creating these in Adobe Illustrator. The color palette again is just black and white, and your final deliverable is going to be the 8 icons placed on an 11 by 8.5 inch document. So it's just a simple document, and we'll do the same process where you'll start with sketches, and then we'll have a couple critiques, and then you could potentially use these in projects that come up, such as the recipe cards, and then even in the final recipe book. So I will post another video kind of showing you sort of the process of getting started, getting these into Illustrator, but you should all be very familiar with using Illustrator at this point, simplifying objects and, working with the pen tool and curves and shapes and all that kind of stuff. So this is my introduction, and then I will post another video with a few just reminders for Illustrator, how it works, and the best way to get started on this project.